everybody. Welcome to the On the Live Run podcast. We appreciate you taking the time to listen and everything. And we just want to do a real quick reminder that we are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and also on YouTube as well. And so please make sure that you follow there and give us a rate and a like. It would help us out tremendously. So thank you again for taking some time to listen today. I am incredibly excited to be able to have our guests today. We've had some really good ones, and this one is no less. And so we're really excited about that. Abe, why don't you go ahead and introduce our guests for us today?
Yes, so I'm very excited to welcome today someone who has quickly risen to the top of Illinois running and really one of the best sophomores in the country at this point. He's a sub-2 800-meter runner, 4:22 for the full mile, 9:19 for the full 2 mile, 14:12 for 3 mile on the grass, third at state this year in Class 2A in Illinois as a sophomore, sixth as a freshman last year. He was second in New Balance Nationals outdoor in the 2 mile over for freshmen. He was sixth at Running Lane Cross Country Nationals this year and seventh at NXR Midwest. This is Carson Kaiser.
Carson.
What's up, guys?
Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. How are you today?
Doing good. Having to, school, finals is soon, so I've had to really, lock in, study for that. And so far I've been off from running, so the break is going pretty well.
Awesome. So before we jump into any questions about running and stuff, I just want to know, is there a class that you really like in school?
Honestly, I'm pretty fond of my chemistry class because I'm into chemistry, I'm into science and that whole kind of STEM. So I'd probably say chemistry is my favorite class because it's challenging and I don't find it boring. So
okay, nice. And so, what about your least favorite or your most challenging class?
Oh, my most challenging class? Well, I would probably say chemistry is my most challenging class, so that's why it's my favorite.
Okay.
My least favorite class is probably Earth. It's this science class called Earth Science. Okay. It's just going over I don't know why I took it. It was kind of like a last minute decision to change classes.
Okay.
So that's just what I got stuck with. It wasn't. It was kind of out of my control, to be honest.
All right. Well, we won't let the science teacher hear this podcast, and at least that part.
Okay.
Yeah. So Abe, actually, he's going to start us off with a question, and we'll go from there. So, Abe, I'll go ahead and give that over to you.
Yeah. So, just talking about this cross country season alone. Last year you got sixth as a freshman. You ran 14:41, I believe. So coming into this season, what were your expectations? Did you think you could run as fast as you did? Second only to Lucas Verspicus here in Illinois, all time for freshmen. So, yeah, that's some pretty good company to be in. Did you think you could be in the spot at this point?
So going into the season, I was dealing with injury at the very end of track season. So during New Balance, I competed with an injury in my knee. So over the summer, I took an extra week off on top of our 2 weeks. So going into the season, I was kind of already behind training wise because I already had a super long track season coupled with the extra break that I took for my knee. I felt going into the season that there was definitely going to be some things that me and my coaches and teammates were going to try to implement and change so I would be able to have the most success possible. Going into the championship season, we had a training block that I felt really helped. And yeah, I didn't expect to go as fast as I did, but I definitely knew that this season was going to be a big change for me. Just level wise of how well I'd be competing.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's good.
So, with going into you had the long track season, and you said you had the injury. Did that discourage you at all? Like knowing that you had that injury, or and what did you do to be able to help? If you weren't discouraged, what did you do to help stay active and just engaged mentally?
Okay, so it was definitely way like harder mentally. Going into nationals, I was honestly considering dropping out, but because I knew that I wanted to finish the season strong, I knew that it was more of a mental challenge than a physical one. So after I was able to kind of conquer that, going into like cross training and stuff, that my coaches set up for me, I knew that if I really wanted to have a successful season, that I was going to have to, put in all the tiny work, to prevent that kind of stuff and to get every single advantage I could. So I would say the adversity is like 90% mental and like 10% physical, because you can always like, there's always time to recover from an injury, but if you don't spend that time, you know, mentally preparing yourself for what goes on after that and during, then it's going to be hard to kind of bounce back.
Yeah. So like with the mental, the mental aspect, like, you said the physical aspect, yeah, you know what to do with that. Like, you run, you work out, all those kind of things. With the mental aspect, like what were you doing to help you mentally?
Um, Honestly, I'm a pretty big worrier. My family knows this, my coaches know this. I usually get worried over the smallest things, and if I can't control them, then and if things are out of my reach, then I wouldn't say spiral, but in the sense of like I start to worry about all the little things, and that um I think that what really helps me is that people around me, like in my support group, let me know that it's something that I can overcome because I've gone this far, and I know that it's just one little step that I have to cross in order to, get to the next like step in the plan, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Mm.
You just said something I think that's really important, Carson. So like, you're saying, you when you don't have control over something, like you begin to kind of uh, maybe you start worrying or get anxious about things. So, for you, like, have you noticed like things that you do when you do begin to get anxious? Like, is there like any sort of like triggers or anything
Yeah.
like you're like, oh man, wait, what's going on?
Mm. I would probably say most of it is maintenance. Like maintenance, like if I feel like a little ache or pain, like my immediate thought is to like go see like a trainer or like talk to about my coaches.
Mm.
Any other kind of worry that I have, it's really settled within my own mind. Like it usually has to take time for myself to kind of process all the possibilities that can happen. And I know that for myself that I will always like kind of come to my senses like sometime after like I'm done worrying and be like, okay, like it's time to stop worrying. It's time to get back on track and like actually start focusing on what can make me better.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like with the injury, it's like, oh, I'm so worried about like what will my cross country season look like? How will I be able to do this? And it's really just tackling one day at a time, one task at a time. Like I just got to finish this and go on to do other stuff later, but it's time to focus in right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Abe. You had a question?
Yeah. So, like, talking about stress, and you mentioned your support group, like your close friends and family. Has there ever been like one big moment in your career where your support group really helped you get through like a tough moment, whether it be, a race that you didn't go as planned or like a really hard training block? What do you think like is the biggest moment where they helped you in?
Um, I would probably, are you asking like the moment or like the time period that they helped me or like what aspect they helped me in?
Um, I guess both.
Okay, so probably the most stressful time was right before New Balance Outdoor. I was like, we had this whole plan with my friend from Indiana, Colin
Mm.
Watson. Me and him, his family was gonna take me to Pennsylvania because we were both racing. Um, and right then, like my injury just became apparent, and I was like, okay, I've tried running on it. It hasn't worked.
Mm.
What can I do to fix this? But it's just that it was just so stressful, you know? Like
Yeah.
I'm dealing with an injury away from family, and I don't really know what to do. Like, should I call it off?
Mm-hmm.
And something that, and I was just like stressing, like it was the only thing I could think about. Like even during dinner, like right before I was about to go to sleep, like that's all I could think about.
Yeah.
But just going over it, like with my family, with my coaches, with everyone, they've just constantly pushed me to find a way out, to, um, find a way to succeed, find a way to grow, find a way to overcome. And with that, it's pushed me to kind of look myself in the face, slap myself in the face, look myself in the mirror and be like, okay, like, what are you going to do? Right? You're faced with
Mm-hmm.
this challenge. What are you going to do to, overcome it? Like, are you going to stand there or are you going to go hide away and cower? You need
Yeah.
to be able to face those challenges in order to see yourself grow.
Yeah.
Mm.
So it's like a wake up call for you then.
Yeah, like what can I do to, move forward and how can I use this as like an opportunity to grow?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I mean, that's really great. So it sounds like one of the things that you took away from that is like learning how to calm down and like
hmm
really maybe process it in a healthy way and be like, okay, you know, I got this, or what can I do to be able to make sure I'm successful? Does that sound right?
Yeah. hmm
Yeah. Okay. So with you know um, that injury, and of course the stresses that brought along, and working through all of that, and now of course you come to the cross country season this year, and you really heard your name a lot on a lot of different podcasts, and people
hmm
putting your name out there and everything. What like did you how were you dealing with that? Did you feel like there was expectations and more stress put on you or pressure? How did you deal with that?
Um, I feel like it's always been the same thing. Um, People's opinions of me don't matter to myself. Um, I think that if I'm able to be confident in myself, then whether there's naysayers or there's hype men behind me, then it's all great to have, right? There's always going to be haters. It's always good to have people who support you, but you got to find a way to kind of take it with yourself and realize that if I'm just able to be confident and know what's in me and what I can do, then nobody else can take that away from me. And going into the season in like the tougher meets like sectional state, I always found it in myself to, always have the exact same mentality going into it. Like I'm gonna try to do my best. And that's what my support group always holds it to me. Just go out there, go try to do your best, and that's kind of been a running thing for me. So that's what just I try to replicate every time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you think you draw that confidence from? Like, yeah, does it come from? Is it just innate? Is it from your workouts? Where do you think it comes from?
I think it comes from um like something I'd probably say like where it comes from, I'd probably say it's like a God-given. I thank God for all the success that I have, but I would say that where that drive comes from is just wanted to get faster, wanted to see myself in that position where I'm able to win and also just able to improve on myself. I think not like chasing after stuff just to impress others or do something like that is like in vain because like you'll have a group for a time, but then it might, like people might switch up, people might change. But if you just know that you will always be confident in yourself and always, chase your best self, then um other people don't really come into the equation.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
And
that's
and
something.
I'm not saying that in like a selfish way. Like you always it's best to put yourself first in those kind of situations where like no one else can do this but me. So it's like it's a responsibility to myself that I try to hold to myself that, I have to go out there and do the best I can for myself and for other people. Like, like the people who want to see me do good
Yeah.
and the people who want
Mhm.
to see me do bad.
Abe, did you have a question or a comment?
Yeah, I was gonna say, something about cross country, and I mean in track too, but especially cross country, something that makes the sport so unique is, you're racing with your team against other teams, you're racing other people, but at the end of the day, it's you versus yourself and you versus your own mind. How long can you endure, and how long can you, hang with the suffering? So something that what is when you're running, what is the biggest thing? You mentioned running for sometimes the people that hate you or the people that love you. What is the biggest thing in races that keeps you going?
Um, the biggest thing during races is definitely the pre-race plan of like I think that mentality in like a race is won before it even starts.
Mm,
You can go into a race like knowing that you'll do absolutely anything to win. I think that
mm,
I try to do that most times. And even if most people do that, like most people say that they want to go win, but they're not willing to push through the lengths to like actually go do that or do as
mm,
best as they can. Like they won't be willing to put themselves in that position like later on in the race, like 12 minutes in when it's really like the last 800, when
mm,
they really like have to be like, okay, it's time to hunker down, it's time to go do this. I think that's something that I've been exceeding at. I think that's what separates me, that I'm able to go into that kind of like state and really push myself when it gets hard.
yeah.
And even then, it I find it like challenging during races when, like I still have tons of competition around me. Like it's starting to hurt. I'm starting to have like negative thoughts like maybe I should back off, maybe I should do this, do that. But it's really just trying to find who you really are in the middle of the race and I think that kind of decides the outcome.
Mm. So, Carson, you mentioned about the mentality, right? So, in your perspective, like, do you think like mentality is what really separates your like competitors? Like, so I mean, people can be fast. Like, some people are just going to be faster, faster or as fast as you, right? So, do you think like the mentality really, when you approach that line or whatever the case may be, is what's going to separate you from other people who may be just as fast? What do you think about that?
I think that there's definitely an aspect of people are just going to be faster. Some people you're going to be able to beat, some people you're not going to be able to beat. But it's really like if God sets you out to go win a race, then you go win. If he sets you out to go lose, then you go lose. And whatever he decides. But I think that the mentality going into it definitely decides like what you do after the race. Like if you have the mentality to go win state and you go lose, you can either take it one or two ways. You can be, okay, I just lost. My entire self-image is destroyed. I suck. All this. And then the complete opposite is like, okay, I just lost state. Let's go to the next race. What can I improve on? How can I learn from this? I got better. In the long run, it's gonna affect me better. That kind of stuff
Yeah.
is what I would say.
Okay. So where do you think where do you think you learned that? Like, do you think you picked it up from maybe your parents or other athletes, or where do you think you got that from? That sort of
I
mentality.
think I think I learned it from my teammates early on. Since in sixth grade, I started running cross country, and I always had older teammates and my own brother to push me to do my best. And when I lost, or I was motivated intrinsically by PRs, and I still am. But back then, I was probably more motivated back then, um, until right now, like recently, to go be the best version I am because it didn't come naturally to me. Like I wanted to go chase it. And now I realize that I feel the same way. So I feel like just I learned to, you know, chase and be strong throughout races and yeah, all that.
Yeah. No, that's good. I mean, because there's like of course, people with different personalities. Actually, Abe and I were just talking a little bit ago about the collegiate runner, Abe, the one from Villanova, I think it
Oh,
is.
Marco Langdon.
Yeah, Marco
Hmm.
Yes.
Langdon, and how he's like, some people would be like, oh, he's just, being cocky or whatever. And some people are like, man, like he really is confident,
Hmm.
and he
Mm.
believes that he's going to be the best, or he desires to be the best, and everything. And so, are you familiar with who I'm talking about?
Yeah, Marco Langen. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
Yeah.
familiar with that guy.
So what do you think about the way he approaches races and like everything?
I think that Marco is uh I think that he- I feel like the environment that he was raised in, like I'm pretty sure he's from New Jersey. Like
Yeah,
the way that he
Mm.
was brought up and I guess like the circumstances in his life has led him to get to this point and really it's like whatever circumstance you come from, like if you grow up like how he did, like without a dad and kind of unmotivated through school and really running was the only thing to keep him
yeah,
going, then like something like running where racing is literally life or death. I feel like if someone views it that intensely, then beating them or beating their mentality, really because, someone can always be faster. But if you go in there just like, win or lose, win or die mentality, then I feel like doing that is way more important than having, any other speed because you can always acquire speed. You can't always like acquire that mentality. It's like it has to be learned over long periods of losing and, adversity to get better.
right,
And
yeah,
for the listeners who don't know or aren't familiar with Marco, he just lost the BU 5K. I mean, very, very, very barely lost it, but still came in second. 10 minutes later, he was interviewed, and he said straight up, I'm the best. I don't care who you are. I'm gonna go beat you. So, obviously, he's a very, very confident person. Carson, do you find yourself being more like him, like more outwardly confident, or do you think that you stay more quiet and like it's internal?
I would. I know a lot of my friends who do think that, being outwardly braggadocious and that stuff like is cool. But I find myself a lot of times during races, especially during this cross country season where I've known the hype behind my name and I've kind of just taken it with a grain of salt. And my
Mm,
coaches have too. They've made sure that I know that it's just another race. You gotta
mm,
go out there and compete to your best ability. Like I said earlier, treat every race the same. And I feel like being outwardly confident shows like the character that you got, like, and also, um, like where your kind of mental state is, because anyone can pretend to be confident after a loss like that, but
mm.
not everyone can back it up with how Marco does.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
I would say that it's uh, those who have been running or are in the running scene, like they've heard the name Steve Prefontaine, and I would say that he was very confident, and he ran like he was, he ran like that, and I personally believe that it's okay. And we probably need a little bit more of that in the running world. Inga Brixton is, of course, very confident of who he is and all those things. And so, it's just a matter of, being able to display that, in a respectful manner, hopefully, and
Mhm.
just being okay with that. So, that's all an interesting talk there. So, with cross country season being done now, running lanes being done and everything, is there, you set your sights to track? Is there a particular event that you really enjoy more so than other events?
Um, well, it's kind of like a timeline. So, back in middle school, I had to run the 1600, 800, and I think 4x4 almost every meet that we had, and it
Yeah,
was like week to week basis. So I was running those events every single meet. So I would probably say the 1600 was my favorite event in middle school, and transitioning into high school, I found myself enjoying the 3200 a lot more because I feel like um the faster or like the faster I go is like based on the longer that the event goes. So if you compare my track 3200 my 2 mile to my 800, 159 is still fast, but it's not as good. Like if you compare it to other 800 times, is like a 919 would be.
yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
So then you would, right, at least for now, you would consider the 32 as your main event. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
basically.
Yeah.
Mm.
So do you have any goals set for that right now, or you just you still haven't figured that out yet?
Uh, right now, I feel like anyone can set like setting your expectations too high this early in the season can
Yeah.
be detrimental
Right.
because last last season I had all these goals that I obviously knew nothing about, but I knew that I wanted to go chase them. I feel like that was good, but I set my goals for sub 420 in the 1600 like before outdoor started, and I didn't get
Mm.
that. And then going into outdoor, I was like, okay, I still gotta go get that. I didn't reach my goal of running like 416 because I didn't even go sub 420. So I feel like this year I'm gonna kind of stray away from that and kind of just see how I'm able to progress. But the main goal is breaking nine
Okay.
minutes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So are you thinking about going to like Arcadia maybe to try to break that?
Yeah, I think Arcadia would be a good meet to do that. I've talked about it with my coaches. There could be other meets that I could go do it at,
Mm.
but that would probably be the main one that I would look to
Yeah.
so far.
Yeah, that's a great event to be able to try to do that at, and
Hmm.
all the hype that is there,
Hmm. Yeah.
and everything. Yeah. So Carson, just to get to know you a little bit more here, I just got some questions, some fun questions to ask and everything. And so I have noticed on your social media that you like drawing, and
Hmm.
is there something? What has been your favorite thing to draw so far?
Um, so I started drawing back in fourth grade. I was influenced by like my friends, so I was influenced by like, the stuff that they were influenced by is like anime, cartoons, books, movies, whatever. So I kind of gravitated towards that for a while, but I kind of stopped drawing during middle school, and I really picked it back up eighth and freshman year. And after that, I've just kind of been influenced by music. I've been influenced by fashion, by like my favorite music artists, um, and just life,
Okay, all right,
I would
yeah,
say.
because I've seen some of them and they're really good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Coming from, I don't know if anybody's seen it. I posted a few some art stuff on my TikTok. So coming from an artist, like, is there like any like do you like to use like alcohol markers, like inking,
Oh.
pencil? What's your favorite like thing to draw with?
Well, I
Favorite
can't really
material?
bring those alcohol markers to school, so
Yeah.
I kind of just use pencils, pens, like whatever I kind of have in my backpack.
Mm.
And usually I find myself drawing on the whiteboards during school because homeroom
Oh yeah.
our teacher lets us draw on the whiteboard, so I'm able to, you know, doodle or do whatever I can with my friends there. But probably pencil because I'm not really that good at using pens.
Yeah.
And I like to erase my stuff if I make a mistake.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. So with the draw, so you like to draw. Right now, what would you say are what's in your Spotify or your playlist? What are the top three artists that you listen to or songs?
All right. If I were to say artist, I would probably say um let's think. I would probably say like I listen more so to different playlists than artists because um like I have a few playlists that are just like specifically made for like certain stuff. Like I have a big playlist where I have all my songs, and then I have some where it's like, like indie bands and then some gatekeeping songs where it's just like songs that me and my friends enjoy.
Okay,
So I'll probably say those three playlists.
okay, all right, all right. So, and here's a fun question: with which team would you be find yourself on more so? Would it be on Marvel or DC?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
I would only say Marvel because of Spider-Man, but other than that, I would probably have to go with I'd probably have to go with DC.
DC.
Mm.
Okay.
Hmm.
Is there a favorite character you have in DC?
Batman.
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 Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty basic, but I feel like everyone would have him.
Yeah, yeah. No, there's a lot of
Mm.
people who pick Batman,
I think
rightfully
out of
so.
I think out of everyone we've asked, they've either said Batman or Spider-Man so far. So
Honestly, I like Spider-Man as more of a character, but I feel like I'm drawn more to like the DC
Okay,
just because of like all the movies I've watched more Batman movies than I have Spider-Man movies. So
Mm.
let's see. Yeah, so I was just gonna say, what was your favorite Batman movie?
my favorite Batman movie is probably the most recent one. The Batman is what's
Okay.
called. It's
Yep,
the
yep.
one
Mm.
with Robert Pattinson.
Yeah,
I really like the storytelling and like the different take that they have on Batman. That's kind of more like a vigilante rather than just like like protector of Gotham.
sure.
Um
Mm.
and that's also just like probably just biased because I saw that with my friends when it first came out, so
Okay.
that's just been one that I really like.
Yeah. No, that's
Nice.
good. That's good. And so are you have you seen or do you watch any of the Stranger Things shows?
Yeah, I do. Currently we watched it. We watched the newest season over break, like
Okay.
the 4 episodes that dropped.
Mm.
Yeah, I enjoy talking about shows and movies with my friends.
Yeah. All
Mm.
right. So what did you think about the first 4 episodes of the last season?
Okay, I thought that the fourth episode was really good. I like how they're breaking it into parts, instead of
Mm.
just, like it follows like instead of just following like the 10 episodes that
Right.
they would usually have, it's like one mini story in the four episodes, and then it will build up even more until the second act, and then the finale will be crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm like I think it's cool that they're tying in like past plot points, like the other psychic girl from like season
Oh yeah.
two,
Yeah.
and then
Mm.
also like Vecna's new powers and how Will just got powers. Sorry for any spoilers if
Yeah.
anyone listening
Yeah.
we'll put it we'll
hasn't
put an
hasn't
alert
seen
on
it.
there. Yeah.
hmm But something, yeah, I think that's really cool. I'm excited to see what's gonna happen because me and my family have made some plot points or some theories that we're excited to see come to like happen or
Yeah.
if they don't happen in like the next
Mm.
few episodes.
I got you. Well,
hmm
my biggest, well, I told Abe this that I think I don't know how much I'll hold to this, but I think that Will's mom is going to be taking his life.
Oh, really?
Because yeah, for me, because she's gonna realize it's no longer Will, and then well, she's got to save the world, or somehow somebody's got to save the world. So she's gonna do what she
hmm
has to do.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just one of those
hmm
deals.
hmm my dad said that I checked this. I don't know how true it kind of is, but he said that he thought that Vecna would have been Will's dad because he didn't like Joyce and Will were the only ones that he didn't kill at the final battle, and he ended up giving Will powers. Like, and why was Will the first one that he abducted?
Yeah.
Um, like, and in Vecna's like flashback, in that one episode, they saw
Mm.
that he went to the same high school as
Mm.
Joyce,
Yep.
so that was something that he thought about. I think that we've already met Will's dad, or maybe Jonathan's dad, um, like in earlier in the
Yeah.
show, but it could just be a plot point that they could, bring back.
Sure. I have not heard that. I mean it could happen. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really have any other theories. That's kind of it. I'm excited to watch it though.
Okay. Nice.
Mm.
Nice.
Mhm.
Well, Abe, do you have any other comments or questions?
Yeah. Abe, what are you most excited about for this track season?
This track
Like
season
for you
definitely.
personally,
What'd you say?
like for you, just
Yeah,
yeah,
for
let it
this
rip.
season, definitely probably excited to get some fast 800s, some
Yep.
rip some
I knew.
miles. Yeah,
Yep.
I'm
Yeah.
excited for
How
a
about?
new. Good.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just wondering. I know that with your team, you guys are looking to probably run like a fast 4x8. I know
Hmm.
like Dean and Averick. Yeah. Are you excited
Yeah.
for that?
Yeah, I'm really excited. Yeah, be on a team surrounded by fast guys. Yeah, we're looking to hopefully win state in the 4x8. Yeah, run some fast times. Get close to some state records. We'll see what happens. So we're all definitely ready to run fast.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, our team, Kaneland recently moved down divisions into 2A, so you'll have to race against us sometime.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yep. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. 2A. I think it's going to be really, really fast this year. Exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for us, our coach is like saying the site's big, so I'm excited to work with the team and kind of take what I've learned and apply myself to this season, because I feel like after getting 1 year of track under my belt, I know how like different the seasons are. So I would just say for you to kind of expect like a lot more intensity, because it's way different than middle school meets.
Yeah.
And I know you're at a high level, and I kind of started learning that at the end of like my 8th grade year, but definitely gonna be a big step up. So
yeah, I'm excited. Thank you for the advice.
Yeah, and Jose, what are you most excited about for Dixon and Abe's season?
Yeah, I mean, like I'm just excited to see what happens. I definitely love track, and I'm excited to see what Abe does, and what events we'll be able to go to and enjoy. I think we're looking at a couple of indoor stuff, and then of course looking to outdoor when that comes around. So it'll be good. So I'm excited for all of it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what Illinois can do in the distance side of track. So it'll be exciting.
Yeah, it'll be. I mean, if you think about it, for Illinois over the next few seasons, I mean, there's some incredible runners, distance runners. I mean, of course, we have you. We got a Kranvir out at Lake Zurich. We have some guys some of the freshmen, Abe, Ethan, some of those guys, and then of course the guys in the South. Kind of excited to see what everybody does. So I feel
like just because of how good all the seniors were this year, that like our distance, like especially during cross country, you saw a lot of like 800-meter guys milers going way faster into like 3 miles 5K than you would ever expect them to go. Yeah. I feel like just them being able to kind of step up their game made everyone else do the same.
Oh,
so
yeah, for sure.
Even if you're getting beat by some of these guys, you're running insanely fast.
Yeah.
And especially in like the underclassmen, like freshmen, sophomores, like in my class especially, there was a lot more competition, and I was just like amazed what some of those guys like were able to do earlier in the season.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, it's just, I'm so looking forward to it, and seeing what can happen and what everybody brings to the table, and everything. So, one question before, we let you go here, Carson. So I'm wondering if you would be willing to be able to come on a show later on, like, after track season or whatever, and just kind of and talk about that, chop it up with that. So, would you be willing to do that?
Yeah, I would love to, guys.
Before we let you go, I just want to remind everybody, you can check us out on Spotify. We're there. We're also on Apple Podcasts and on YouTube, and you can give us a follow. It would help us out greatly, or a rate and review. Those are always fantastic. Only take a few seconds. So, again, thank you everybody for listening, taking this time and listening to some conversation we had with Carson. And I just want to remind everybody, I hope everyone has a great Christmas and New Year's, and enjoy it. And my favorite word in the name of this podcast is andale. So remember to have a great time, and we'll talk to you guys later. All right. Andale.